Here's the story. Johnny the Mad Dragon, who had my mother off my side. They were four fans, certainly obnoxious, but full of dragon's pride.
It's the story of the great Jesse Godfrey, with Big T Go-Go and Mr. Rob. The Jesse's crew, so fierce and passionate, and the red V shine true. Till the one day when Johnny met young Jesse, and they knew
It was much more than a hunt. That his group would form a fiery podcast. That's how we got the Mad Dragon's Punch. Mad Dragon's Punch. Mad Dragon's Punch. That's the way we became the Mad Dragon's Punch. Come on, Dragons fans! Fire up!
Well, g'day, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Mad Dragons broadcast of the junior reps. The Dragons up against the Roosters here in the Tarsha Gale Cup, the under-19s women's competition. The Dragons 0-2 to start this season. Now, the Roosters, they started with a loss to the Tigers. They bounced back in emphatic fashion as the Dragons, they put a kick through here from a scrum win from deep inside their own territory. Need a bounce. Didn't quite get the kind bounce there, Alda. She was leading the race. If it had a set up into her arm, she was going the length. But just gets a cruel bounce right at the end, knocks it on, and will now hand over good field position to the Roosters. Well, that's some enterprising play from the young Dragons women. Weren't far off getting a win in their second game against the Rabbitohs. They went down 22-18. So now the Roosters, they go out wide through Fletcher. Fletcher gets it wider still. An in and away move there from Seaback. Seaback for the corner. And the Roosters score first in this game. Well, that was a beautiful move from Manisha Seaback. Scored a couple of tries in this competition already. Just got to the outside, one-on-one with our Matt. And just fantastic play, one-on-one. That's rugby league at its best. Seaback scores the first try of this game. The Roosters up 4-0, kick to come on the Complete Warehouse Solutions scoreboard. Well, we've got an opportunity. We may as well go through the Roosters team. Fullback Logan Fletcher, Boland and Seaback the try scorer. And the wingers, Whitehead and Ekapati in the centres, and Barrett and Dicker in the halves. Tirakura Leaf up front with Nataere Only has come off the bench to start in the front row. Cross and Mackay Taylor, Dimmick is the 13, and at the bench you have Durham, Nassio, Ross, and McLean. Prasad is the 18th player. For the Dragons, we'll bring their team up, and Tonioli at fullback, Alda, and Matt on the wings. Morrison and Eve Mayer are the centres, and then the halves of Stevens and Struthers. Up front is Chris and Lee Dennis, with in 9 coming into the side is Mihaj Lovic. Then up in the back row, Martu, who scored 2 tries last week. Moving to the second row with Carolina Cook in jersey 9, as that kick is waved away, and Charlie Pitstock is the 13. Bench, Lindsay Major Booth, Sienna Guida drops back to the bench as well. Dandan and Cadziella make up the Dragons at 17-player squad. Roosters lead 4-0. There's about 8 minutes gone in this one. Just update the banner. It's not 0-0 anymore. The Roosters strike first. Few comments. Bobby McJr. read an article Tegan Berry is leaving the Dragons. No, that's not what the article said at all. It said that there are other clubs that are interested. She's with the Dragons for 2025. The Dragons are confident they will have her locked down for 2026 and beyond. But the article does say that other clubs are interested in securing their services. Of course they are. She's a wonderful player. So there we go. Keely Davis, coach of this Roosters side, says, Jag. And good morning to you, Mo. As the Roosters go up over the halfway line, well, the Roosters look a pretty good team. I mean, their form line stacks up. This should be a difficult outing for the Dragons women. That one knocked backwards again, having a little bit of trouble with her hands here out up. But at least that one goes backwards and flopping in late. Ekapati gives away the penalty. So the Dragons have to wait till all their players get back on side before they can kick for the sideline. But a piggyback out of their own end. Hopefully an opportunity now for them to use the ball and get in some decent territory, because it's been all down this end at the moment. Here's Lovick. Takes the tap. Hands that off to Mayuu for the first carry of this set. Go at the back of the two front rowers. So the Dragons look to use the ball, look to hit the edge. Got the cook, and now they're driven backwards here. The Dragons going absolutely nowhere. Jess Stevens, they set upon her. Now Antonioli tries to right the ship, get them going back in the right direction. Engaging the markers there, Mihoz Lovick. Looks like they're gonna get to their kick. It'll come across to Struthers. Struthers goes wide, and again the Roosters defence read it perfectly. Antonioli out the back. The winger charged up out of the line there, Bowl, and put the pressure on and shut it down. So the Dragons, despite getting that penalty, still had to kick from deep inside their own territory. And the Roosters will have it. And we'll go back on the attack. The Roosters picked up there. Here's the try scorer, Seebeck. No way through the middle. He looked good going around the edge, but a bit of a show and a go now from Barrett. They hold on to the ball, but can't get to the ground. A quick play the ball. They get out of dummy half. They found a bit of space. They should score. They will score. Cashin. Well, she does exactly that. The quick play the ball from Georgie Barrett. The Dragons were at 6s and 7s. It was a staggered defensive line. And Marley Cashin, too classy. Got out of dummy half, had runners either side, but just did it all herself. Steps through the line, dives over. The Roosters out to an 8-0 lead, kick to come. And the signs aren't good early here for the Dragons. Some big games coming up today. Might be a more difficult day for the Dragons here at Cogra. Hopefully tomorrow is a little bit better for the Dragons at this venue. I kept waiting for the venue to get changed. If I'm honest, there's 3 games scheduled for Cogra today. Starting with this one, the Tarsha Gale Cup, Lisa Fiola Cup after this, against the Central Coast Roosters, and then the Harold Mack. All right here at Cogra Jubilee. Before a double header in the NRL at the same venue tomorrow. So, as I say, I kept waiting for the venue to get changed, but here we are at Cogra for 3 games. The Roosters, with the conversion attempt, this one a lot easier than the first one. Moves in, strikes it, raises the flags. The Roosters lead 10-0 on the Complete Warehouse Solutions scoreboard. Any signings on the horizon for the NRLW team? And it looks like Hannah Southwell is a very good chance of coming to the Dragons. The rumours pretty strong that Southwell, having left the Knights, will end up at the Dragons, Mo. So that's the word. Jesse's put that in the comments there as well. The Dragons will get us back underway. The Roosters, well, a bit of a hop, a step, a skip. And Rockura Leaf charging back into the Dragons' defence. They handle it pretty well, though. But coming back in behind the rock now goes Dimmick. Finds a bit of space and spending a lot of time there in the ruck. Jessica Stevens controlled that. Trying to get back on top, but they're just rolling forward here, the Roosters. A penalty, a quick tap, and they're off and gone. The Roosters with the play the ball. Cashin tracking across field. That one's tapped up in the air. It's knocked forward, I think, by the Dragons. It'll be 6 again for the Roosters as Boland comes back centre field. Well, that one tapped up by Alda. We know she's got some speed, but hasn't really been able to unleash it so far. As Fletcher throws an absolute beauty of a ball to Ekapati, who's on the outside of the Dragons' defence. She goes over untouched. And the Roosters, they are flying out to a 14-0 lead, kick to count. Busy day of rugby league today. Well, I'm not expecting that it's going to be brilliant viewing for Dragons fans, if I'm honest. I think this Roosters team and the next one in the Lisa Fiola Cup, even though the Lisa Fiola girls got their first ever win last weekend, I think the Central Coast Roosters might be a different proposition. Harold Matts, I think that's one where the Dragons might be able to win, but there's certainly I think a tough day coming up. We're looking to show a bit of pride and spirit, but I think we're against some classy oppositions in the females pathway games. And that's so far been the case. The Roosters are racing the clock in this one. Just over 15 minutes gone, 14-0. And the Dragons haven't touched the ball since it was 4-0. So put a bit of a gap on them. So Fletcher, 1 from 2 so far. This one out to the left, stays out to the left and waved away. So saving grace, keeping the scoreline at 14-0, 16 and a half gone. Is this officially it's the Indigenous Academy Roosters side. Not exactly sure why they go with that title. You don't have to be an Indigenous player to play in this side. I'm not sure what the relationship is there, but it's effectively that they use the Sydney Roosters logo, and it's not a separate logo. But on all the New South Wales Rugby League websites, they're known as the Indigenous Academy Roosters in the Tarsha Gale Cup. Maybe somebody out there in the comments can let us know why that is and what the relationship is with the Indigenous Academy. But the Roosters, they roll up over halfway again. The Dragons, they are on their heels as the Chooks march up to 30 metres out from the Dragons line, and once again holding on for an inordinate amount of time there. Jessica Stevens is really pushing the boundaries, trying to slow down the Roosters, play the ball to give a side some sort of advantage, but the referees having none of it. Another penalty given away, and the Roosters will once again go on the attack through Dimmick. She's up to the 20-metre line. This defence is under pressure once more. They come to the left-hand side with Cashin. Cashin finds a runner. Changes direction. As she gets to the line, I think that's Lacey Cross. Plays it again back to Cashin. Short ball, and the ball comes free. Well, with the line wide open, Caitlin Whitehead had designs of scoring that try, but spills the pill. The Dragons will get the ball. They charge back to the 20-metre line for the restart. And on the first play, the ball comes free and knocked out by Ekapati, says the referee. And a penalty to the Dragons. They're right in the middle of the field. Doesn't look like they're going to kick for the sideline. Yes, Lovick was he's balked to take the tap a couple of times and now gets it on to Dennis. It's a good way to start a set. Good strong run. That's actually Major Booth that's actually onto the field for the Dragons. They've got a couple of bench players out there. Dan, I think that's her first game of the year. Great short ball from Stevens. Good line from Mayu. It comes up without the ball. And an error. Well, that was probably the most enterprising, the best chance the Dragons have had. And they're still 40 metres away from the Roosters line before they come up with that mistake. But it is the best they've looked. I'm definitely going to rely on the comments. SG Ball, Dragons up 6-0. Southwell was previously at the Dragons, Mo. I think way back in 2018, if I'm not mistaken. As the Roosters throw one towards the sideline, but was infield a long way there. Boland is able to get across and track it down before it goes into touch. Dragons down 14-0 on the Complete Warehouse Solutions scoreboard. Getting out of dummy half. Goes Cashin. Picks up some good metres before she's met with some solid contact and the ball comes free. Cook goes back to clean it up, but they've lost about 15 metres, the Dragons, so no advantage. I'll come back to where the mistake from Cashin happened. Dragons trying to work their way into it. Certainly a few games going on all at the same time here in the junior reps competition. Mo just gave us a bit of a score update for the Dragons SG Ball side. There'll be a few other games throughout the day. I think there's a New South Wales Cup trial at Henson Park after that SG Ball game as well. So we'll definitely have to have a look at that later. Dragons some sloppy play here as Antonioli gets out of dummy half. Picks up some good metres. Now Major Booth. Solid contact from Leaf. Rocks the head back. Now Cook. Cook turns that one under the Dan. Comes out now to Stevens. Stevens gives the short ball again to Mayu. Mayu dumps it out the back. That's off the legs there of Stevens. Gets out now to Morrison. Morrison, no room to work in at all. He's set upon and wrestled to the ground. Now Stevens goes across to Struthers. Struthers takes on the line after throwing a dummy. And on tackle 5, well, the Roosters looked a long way in front of the referee there, but that's all good. The kick sets up kindly for Boland. As Eve Mayer chases through. A good chase on the kick, so no real room for her to work in. So it's been a nice little 5-minute period here for the Dragons. They've stopped the bleeding somewhat. As the Roosters, though, with the ball in hand, working up towards halfway. Looks like they've actually started to get themselves into the contest, but they are 14 points down. It's another nice little move, just not the whole line moving up in unison there, the Dragons. The pass comes out now with Nastio, who's onto the field for the Roosters. Both teams, most of their bench players out there. The kick comes from dummy half. The big one. Well, I don't know why she stuck her hands out there, Alda. She could have let that one go over the dead ball line. Referee says she didn't get a touch on it, but it wasn't through lack of trying. One of the Dragons players in front of the 20-metre line can't get behind the 20-metre line, has gone down injured. So we'll have a stoppage in play. G'day, Nate. Up the Dragons. Well, certainly hoping for some good things from the Dragons in season 2025. Can't wait for tomorrow. I am itching to get back into seeing the mighty Dragons NRL side out on the park, and I love trials. It gives us an opportunity to see a lot of very talented up-and-coming players. And even though the Dragons have named an almost full-strength side, I think it's still an opportunity. The full-strength guys won't play the full 80. We'll get an opportunity to see some guys like Nathan Lawson, who we brought over from Rugby Sevens, like Finau Latu, who reportedly ran over the top of Famole Olakawatu. I think that story may be slightly embellished. I'm not too sure, but all the same, looking forward to seeing quite a lot of these blokes out on the park tomorrow at this venue. This game being played at Cogra. Jesse acting as co-commentator even when he's not on here with me. Don't forget, 3 Dragons NRLW players in action tonight. All-Stars match. Ella Costa on debut for the Indigenous All-Stars, while Racine McGregor and Bobby Law also playing. McGregor for the Maori and Bobby Law for the Indigenous side. And a dangerous tackle there on Charlie Pitstock. And the referee's going to come up and have some words to the Roosters. We are back underway, but the Dragons will kick for the sideline. Imagine that's going to go on report, and does. Pulls out Georgie Barrett to let her know. And the trainer indicating a concussion here for Charlie Pitstock. This is a big blow for the Dragons. The second time I've seen the Dragons Tarsha Gale Cup side, and I thought Pitstock was their best last time I saw them play. So for her to be heading off for HIA is a big blow. Just checking the team sheets to see if I can pick up an 18th player for the Dragons that may be unlocked because of that concussion. And Vanessa Walker in jersey 10 is the 18th player for the Dragons. So we may see her into the action with Charlie potentially ruled out with the head knock. The Dragons have come up with an error and handed possession over to the Roosters. There's Nasio. Go across field now. Ball goes out to Barrett. Barrett looks to straighten the point of the attack. Held up in a tackle. Now McLean. McLean just hard and straight into Eve Mayer. The tackle crept up a little high, coming over the top. Israel Mayu gives away the penalty. So this tap is just 10 metres out from the Dragons' line. They've got them stretched thin. Nasio goes ball play out to Dicker. Dicker gives the short pass, and the Roosters, they're just a couple of metres short. Quick play the ball. Dicker gives another pass, racing up out of the line. Cadziella forces the error, and the Dragons will get the ball back. Well, Bridie Cadziella out onto the park and comes up with a big defensive play there for the Dragons. Dragons, after the scrum win, go to Stevens, and Stevens had hit Bronte Morrison, who runs straight into a brick wall of Caitlin Whitehead. Now picked up and driven backwards. Nowhere for the Dragons to go. That was Cook. They get a couple wide of the ruck, but this line speed, it's right up in the face of the Dragons. They've just got absolutely no time to do any of the things that they've been working on at training. Quick play the ball and they get out of dummy half. That might be the way to go. Tyler Eve-Mayer picks up the best metres of this set. Wanted a quicker play the ball than she was allowed. Now the pass goes to Dan Dan. They'll kick from just outside the 30 through Charlie Struthers. It's a good kick, almost goes into touch. It's picked up by Fletcher, beats the first chaser. And comes back centre field, but very good kick there from the Dragons halfback and Captain Charlie Struthers. Kicking the Dragons out of trouble. But the Roosters, well, they're trying to bring the trouble straight back. Play the ball to Durham. Sloppy play the ball from Whitehead. She's come up with a couple of errors. She drops the head there after that mistake is picked up by the referee. Well, they've just been a bit sloppy. Here the Roosters, since they got to 14-0. After about 15 minutes, it's now 28 and a half minutes gone in this first half, and still at that same scoreline. The Dragons haven't really had any opportunities. Tyler King is definitely leaving the Dragons mode. Sharks or Warriors, I saw this morning at the likely destinations for Tyler King. I think it opens up an opportunity for Casey Ray to own that spot in the halves now alongside Racine McGregor for the next 4, 5, 6 years before McGregor calls time on her career, because she's not all that old herself, McGregor. She's got plenty of life left in her legs. And the Dragons, well, there's just a couple of plays in this set I think they've been lucky to get away with, where they're just running in behind their own players. Definitely could have called obstruction twice in this set, the referee, but he's allowed it to flow. There's now Cadziella. Well, we've seen her come up with a big defensive play. She hit a little bit of space there, but as soon as she was grabbed, it was driven back to where she came from. The Dragons go a couple wide from Cook, out to Stevens. Stevens to Antonioli. They've used the ball well there, all the way along the line before it gets to our mat, where the Roosters slid across well. Didn't allow too much space for the Dragons. And now they'll get to the kick. Gets plenty on it. Knocked backwards and bounces forwards from the Roosters. And they clean it up. Now a run down the sideline. Bends away from one. The cover defence gets across from the Dragons. Trying to beat another. The party, a fantastic run after the siren sounded. Well, it seems like the siren sounded and all the Dragons players stopped, just thinking the half was going to end immediately. And Tyra Ekapati had other ideas. Just got to the outside, big fend into the chest of one, and runs about 40 metres. A great chase there from Amal Dandan to tackle her from behind and save what would have been a terrible way to end the half for the Dragons, but they hold on and they get to half time with the scoreline intact at 14 all here at Cogra Jubilee Oval. We'll take a break and be back with the second half shortly. Well, g'day, ladies and gentlemen. We are back with the second half. And, yep, Bobby McJr. Hannah Southwell was at the Dragons in 2018. Mad Dragons podcast says the same thing. I said that earlier today, so I think we're right with that one. We know Southwell was at the Dragons in 2018. But we're back underway here. The Dragons have the ball. I'm going to get rid of myself off the screen, and we'll get the team lists back up on the screen there for you, so you can follow along, so you know what positions the players are. And remain 14-0 here was the halftime score. We've got the Leicester Fiola Cup coming up after this, and we'll have a look at the Illawarra Steelers in the Leicester Fiola Cup. I think it was 34-0. They were down behind against the Bulldogs in that one, so they're getting absolutely smashed. The young Steelers girls. But, right here, the Dragons trying to do their best against the Indigenous Academy Roosters. Get up towards halfway as Stevens goes around in behind one of her own players, almost comes out the other side. The referee this time is going to pick up on it. Well, the Dragons have done this quite a few times. I thought the referee could have penalised, but there wasn't really any advantage. The Roosters have handled it pretty easily, even though they have been using their own players as shields. That time, Stevens took an advantage, gained an extra 10, 15 metres because of the obstruction, and the referee almost reluctantly gives that penalty. So the Roosters, they'll look to get back on track. They were 14-0 very early in this contest. The Dragons have sort of worked their way into it. And they're still in the hunt if they can be first to score, but they're under pressure right now. The Roosters, 20 out from the Dragons line, will be played by McLean. Now they go to Nassio. Nassio just hard and straight. Taking that one towards the Dragons line. They've got a foot on the line right now here, the Dragons. They're looking to get up quickly and shut this down. They do exactly that. Try to come up with a one-on-one strip outer, but Ekapati holds onto it. Wasn't releasing her grip. Looks like she might have hurt her hand there. They get out of dummy half, and Tony Ollie tries to shut her down, but Jada Durham just out of dummy half. The defensive line just slid across and gave her a big hole, and Tony Ollie got there late to try and plug that hole, but there was too much momentum for Jada Durham, and another try out of dummy half for the Roosters. First one from Marley Cashin in the first half. And again, the Dragons' defence just overreading, not taking care of the player with the ball in their hands, and Durham extends this to an 18-0 lead with a kick to come. A couple more comments. Here's Hannah's little sister Jessie coming too. No word on Jessie coming. If Racine McGregor leaves after this year, again, I don't think McGregor will leave. I think McGregor's going to. She's got another 5 or 6 years left in her. I can't see why that wouldn't be with the Dragons partnering with Casey Ray in the halves. I think it makes a very good halves combination for a long time to come, and I think the Dragons should be looking to lock that down. Be a fantastic spine if they can add in players. If they can keep players like Tegan Berry as well, I think it's a very, very solid spine to build a team around. We've got some Tori Shipton coming up through the ranks as well at 9. Yes, they are both off contract this year, but I don't see why we'd be trying to lose them. We're not getting Jessie Southwell, mate. That's the end of that, and that's that kicked waved away. We need to keep Racine McGregor. We need to keep her at the club to continue mentoring Casey Ray, who will be one of our main halves. She'll play every game this year, and with Tyler King leaving. So 18-0 in the Tarsha Gale Cup. The Roosters leading the Dragons 4 tries to 0. Only 1 from 4 conversion attempts from the Roosters. Keeps the Dragons somewhat in this game, but I don't think they've had a tackle inside the Roosters 20 yet in this contest. It has really been all the Roosters in this one. There's Cross, gets up to the 40-metre line. Exploring down a short side and going straight through Whitehead. Whitehead trying to draw and pass the fullback, but just couldn't quite position it. Shows some patience there. Now the Roosters come back towards the middle, looking to go between defenders. A good strong run from Lacey Cross. They're not forcing anything here, the Roosters. It goes to Barrett. Barrett goes to Whitehead. Whitehead started it, tries to finish it. Thought about reaching out to the line, couldn't quite get there. Last tackle. It comes back. Barrett rolls it in behind. It sits up nicely there for Eve Mayer. And the Dragons, they survive. Well, now they've got to try and bring it out from their own end as Antonioli caught a little high there. That one up over the shoulder. He clutches at the ear to let the referee know that it definitely was high. So a penalty to the Dragons for that high shot. And again, the penalty right in the middle of the field, so they're not confident with finding the sideline from there. They're going to take the tap on their own 10-metre line. Basically just one extra tackle. Good signs. That's Charlie Pitstock with that run. She went off earlier with a concussion test. She's passed that test and is back out on the field. So that's good to see. It's Major Booth. Stood up in the tackle. They've just got to find their front a little bit more here, the Dragons, as it goes wider now. Mayu'u, one of the most dangerous Dragons players. Another good, strong charge. Need to get her more involved. Now again with Stevens. Stevens has been in everything. Had plenty of the ball. Haven't seen enough of Struthers for my liking. Well, she's barking some orders here. She gets the ball. The pass is terrible to Cook. It bounces around on the ground. It's knocked on by the Dragons in trying to clean it up. Well, I said I haven't seen enough of Carly Struthers. We won't want to see too much more of that if that's the input she's going to have. The Dragons captain in the 7 jersey needs to be crisper with a passing than that. Put Carolina Cook under all sorts of pressure with a dreadful pass. The Dragons come up with the error and they hand over it. Once again, pretty good field position to the Roosters. 18-0 on the Complete Warehouse Solutions scoreboard. Great to have Complete Warehouse Solutions back for another season. As the Roosters straight from the scrum win, they look to go wide. It goes out to Ekapati, scored 1, bounced it out of the first tackle there of Bronte Morrison. Put down just 10 metres out from the Dragons line. She's off the mark by about 15 metres. Referee says it's fine. Of course he does. The Roosters come back towards the middle with Lacey Cross, who's been heavily involved in the early stages of this second half. Durham scored the try in this half. As they go wide, they look to have numbers, the Roosters. They get out to the wing as she goes for the corner. And great defence from the Dragons winger. Well, Alita Boland just had to get down low and get in the corner. But Malusiana Alda gets hold of her, holds her up and takes a touching goal with a fantastic bit of defence to save a certain try. So instead of another 4 points for the Chooks, the Dragons get a 7-tackle set from the 20-metre line. A fantastic bit of defence there from Alda. Love to see her in a bit of her own open space because she definitely seems to have plenty of toe. Dummy and go there from Struthers as the Roosters charged up out of the line. Boland shut that down. Now Stevens, they go wide again. Mayu'u almost pulling through the Roosters' defensive line. Gets a quick play the ball. Stevens on the back of that. Takes it right to the line. Short ball to Morrison. Morrison hit hard. Good tackle there from Seebeck. Now they come across and they gets to Struthers on the last. She's got her own players standing in front of her. The bounce sits up nicely for the Roosters. Dennis was offside. She wasn't allowed to grab it. Now the Roosters have got the ball, but the Dragons at least get through their set. They get through their set and then miss tackle. Hecka Party takes on and Tolioli looks to get away from the winger Matt, who holds on and gets some assistance from Antonioli to bring her down. But Hecka Party's been absolutely deadly in this game. That's about the third or fourth time she's broken the line. She's got a try to her name as well. The Dragons haven't been able to handle her, and now looking to hunt around the middle of the park and find some space. It's a big Dragons middle that's out there at the minute. And lateral movement exposed there. The St George Dragons FC ball side up 12-0 at half-time. In better news, because the Lisa Fiola Cup side for the Illawarra Steelers is down 42 points to 4 against the Bulldogs. So, while this one's 18-0, could be worse. I could have decided to call that game. The Bulldogs absolutely thumping the Illawarra Steelers under-17s girls. Now it looks like we've got an error here, another mistake from the Dragons. Well, it's been all down this end of the field, the Dragons defending their own line throughout this contest. The scoreline of 18-0 perhaps flatters the Dragons. They've scrambled well. They've worked hard for each other. And they have shown some pride against a classy team. But Whitehead, well, great defence there from Morrison, just stayed with her. And the winger, well, trusted her inside defender to make the tackle. That's good stuff there from the Dragons. Now the Roosters, again, they attack back towards that side. Trying to punch in behind Lacey Cross. Is held up there by Stevens. The Roosters again just trying to bash their way across. Stevens just got up in the face there of Durham, who went nowhere. And that's tackle 5. Wait till this set is done. They will kick in behind, and Antonioli dives, and I've got to go and check the door. I'll be back in a minute. And the dog barking at nothing as we're back here with the Roosters on the attack after the goal line dropout. Dimmick hit hard and put away. Now they come to Barrett. Barrett fires a long pass trying to pick up Seebeck, who'd already scored one, but the pass had too much on it. And her arm Matt was right up in her face. And that's frustration there from the Roosters. Now, if I'm honest, that is pure frustration there from Georgie Barrett. The pass wasn't on. It wasn't well executed. But the Dragons said they're just holding their line and keeping the Roosters at bay. And the Dragons' defence has frustrated the Roosters into trying to come up with a miracle play rather than trusting their process. They have been quite patient, and it's been impressive patience from the Roosters, but it looks like it might have run out there, particularly from Georgie Barrett. The Dragons now with Chris. Go a couple wide, and Stevens just floats one out wider. Matt comes in field, has the arm free, couldn't quite get the pass away. Holding that up, Dennis. Charges up towards the halfway line, getting late in this count. Run from dummy half from Eve Mayer. The ball comes out. Stepping back in field again, Matt put down. and a Dragons player taken without the ball. So a penalty to the Dragons, and they might be able to go on the attack here. So we'll kick for the sideline. We'll be closer to the sideline here, and it's a good touch line. It gets it right up to the 20-metre line. So the Dragons with a chance to post their first points. And, well, Tyler Eve-Mayer can't believe where the tap is. The Dragons, they finally get up to where it is. Stevens to Struthers. Struthers goes wider still. They go out to Bridie Cadziella. She looks to back towards that 20-metre line. The Roosters up in her face. Cook on the short side. They go to Dennis. Dennis dummies on the outside to Chris and just takes it into contact. Lee Dennis will play the ball. Now underneath to Chris. Chris, they're just trying to barge their way across here, the Dragons, and they're not far away. The best field position they've had in this entire game. Eve-Mayer goes to Struthers. Struthers gets it out wide. They've got numbers. They go out for the winger and Alda. Well, we've been wanting to see Alda in space. She didn't need much. She gets enough and goes across, and the Dragons score their first try of this game. Well, there was space out there. Tali Struthers knew it. Just got the ball into that 2-on-1 situation, and as soon as Alda had space in front of her, they weren't going to stop her from scoring. So the Dragons, they're on the board. 18-4, kick to come on the Complete Warehouse Solutions scoreboard. Because goal kicking with this scoreline will be vitally important. If they can go up in sixes, they might well put the wind up the Roosters. That goes up to 18-6 rather than 18-4. Suddenly it's 2 converted tries behind with time on the clock. So 13 minutes remaining. Plenty of time to score 2 tries, but if they have to score 3, it starts to look a little bit more difficult. It's about 6 or 7 metres in from touch. So it's a very difficult kick. It's not one you would expect to raise the flags. Moves in. Strike looks good, but waved away. So it's 18-4. Seven and a half minutes gone. The Dragons, really their first opportunity down that end of the field, they turn into points. So if they can get a couple more chances down this end, perhaps they can work their way back into this game. It's the Mad Dragons vodcast. Will we be back tomorrow with the panel on? It'll be an hour before kickoff. We'll get the panel together and we'll go through a few things, confirm the team lists. And the Roosters offside from the kickoff. Well, suddenly a few things starting to go the Dragons' way here at Cogra. Yeah, we'll have the panel on an hour before kickoff, and then live stream the reactions of our first trial game against the Chooks before we do a quick wrap up post game. So we'll be on air throughout the game. Maybe you can try and line us up with what you're seeing, which is always the difficult task. You might be seeing things after we're describing them or before. Probably more likely before because we'll be streaming, so probably likely to be behind time. But the Dragons now here on the attack. Goes out the back of Struthers. Struthers goes the short ball option to Pitchdock. Pitchdock struggling forward in that line. It's eventually put to the ground. We'll play the ball back to Eve-Mayer. Goes again to Struthers. Struthers to Stevens. Stevens dummies to Mayu'u. And Tonioli goes through the line. Gets it out wider to Morrison. The sliding cover defence here of the Roosters. They flick that back infield and Morrison just dives on it. Matt does well to stay in the field of play. We're coming back again for the Roosters, once again getting up out of their line and hitting a player after the pass or without the ball. So another penalty to the Dragons, and they'll keep this pressure on the Roosters. Jessica Stevens will tap the ball. The referee's trying to get the Roosters back on side. Well, he's been trying to do that all day. It comes to Mayu. Stands, thought about the offload back to Cook, but holds onto it on for play one. Eve Mayer out of dummy half. Goes to the crash play option for Chris. Lolita Chris has the ball free and she thinks about dumping it out of the back, but Eve Mayer wasn't looking. Dennis. She tries to power over. And again, there's 4, 5, 6 Roosters in there to eventually get it to the ground. They're going to have to find space here somewhere, the Dragons. Dummying the play. Chris ends up with the ball. She dummies to the outside to Stevens. Stevens trying to set up her outside players for the next play. Well, it broke down a little bit there for the Dragons. It comes out to Stevens. Stevens dummies, goes herself. Tries to get the pass to Mayu. But that's tackle 5. Eve Mayer on the quick play the ball. Long pass. 1-on-1. Slamming it down. Goes in the arm match. The Dragons in again. This time it's in her mat. Well, the pass from dummy half from Tyler Eve Mayer was a floater that cut out Tarly Struthers. Matt was 1-on-1 with Seebeck. Just stepped inside. Well, Seebeck put a beautiful move on Matt early in this game. But right there, Matt returned the favour. Reached out the arm and slammed it down like she was trying to dig it into China. The Dragons have gone back-to-back. It's 18-8 kick to come. Well, this has been somewhat inspired from the Dragons' Tarsha Gale Cup side. They've shown plenty of fight here in this second half. Another kick from the sideline. They've had a lot of the ball, and the Roosters, well, once again, the Dragons, they've been inside the Roosters 20 twice in this game, and they've scored tries on both occasions. So the kick from the touchline, the one from the other sideline looked a good strike. Had plenty on it. Antonioli moves in, on out to the left, and again it's going to stay out to the left. Didn't quite have the legs either. There's 18-8 on the Complete Warehouse Solutions scoreboard. We've got a bit over 7 minutes to go, so probably not enough time for the Dragons to win it, but certainly something for them to take into next week when they head to Belconnen to take on the Raiders. They can get another try here. I'll take plenty of confidence to Canberra. So the Roosters, well, I'd imagine they'll stay behind the kicker from this kick-off after mistiming their run from the last kick. This time they get the all clear, and it's a good kick-off. Goes straight down the middle. But also a good kick return from Antonioli, who charges it back like she's much bigger than she actually is. There's a great run from Chris. Just says, get out of my way. Well, the Dragons' front rowers have set a nice platform. Now Eve Mayer out of dummy half. Well, she's been crafty since she's gone in there as well. Now Cook with an iron on her back. Goes out the back of Dennis to Struthers. Struthers turns that underneath. Pitstock driven backwards, playing on the edge. Now Struthers to Stevens. Stevens goes to the line. Mayu. They've handled her pretty well. They've wrapped the ball up. Taking control of her. She's sent back to the halfway line to play it on 5. It goes to Struthers, and Struthers will put a kick in. A high one that's going to find space, but it sits up nicely for the Roosters. And a pretty good kick return as well there from Boland. So the Roosters with Ekapati, who's probably been their best. And again, breaking through tackles. Maybe a player of the future here, Tyra Ekapati. A name to remember. Now the Roosters go a couple of passes wide. Stevens goes for a piggyback ride up to the Dragons' 30-metre line before she'll play this back to Cash and back out onto the field. They come across to Barrett. Barrett gives the short ball. The Dragons' defence up in the face. It's been a strong finish. We're down into the final 5 and captain out of dummy half. Well, that's an area where the Dragons have struggled, is in behind the ruck. The dummy halves for the Roosters, both their starters and coming off the bench, have hurt the Saints. Oh, well, that is brilliant from the Roosters. The kick from Dicker, and it's just snatched out of the air. The Roosters claim it, just screaming through. No real contest for the ball, just landed in a lap. And the Dragons, well, their good little period comes to an end off a pinpoint kick. Just lands in the lap of a Roosters chaser and goes over completely untouched, uncontested to make it 22-8, kick to count. I'm not sure who it was that grabbed it. Might have been Mackay Taylor out there on an edge, the second rower. I'll have to go to the New South Wales Rugby League website to confirm the try scorer. Slightly easier conversion attempt here for Fletcher. It's about 21 metres in from touch. She's had quite a few from out wide. Hasn't struck them all that well. It was the winger, Aaliyah Boland, that scores the try, or it's been awarded the try. One flag up, one flag down. The second touch judge changed his mind. Well, there was one waving it away, one waving it up. And then the guy that was waving it away changed his mind and put his flag in the air. So I think the conversion attempt has been awarded as successful. A strange one here at Cogra. It's 24-8. 2.5 minutes left on the clock, so not too long until full time. The Dragons with the short kickoff. They come up with the ball through Matt. Matt's still struggling. Wants a double. The Dragons looking to finish with a flurry. Can they get the last say? Last try wins here at Cogra. Cook to Dennis. Dennis struggling towards the try line. Still going, Dennis. One in the tackle, still going. And eventually she's put down about 3 or 4 metres out from the line. Underneath, past the Cook, and the ball is spilled. The Dragons come up with the error. And they'll hand it over. It's 24 points to 8 on the Complete Warehouse Solutions scoreboard. The Roosters over the Dragons. And a nice little fight back from Saints here in this second half after trailing. Well, down 18-0 early in the second half. Got it back to 18-8. And now a penalty to the Roosters as they, well, if they score again here, it would be unfair, I think, to the Dragons. They've been very solid in this second half, but a great touch finder gets the Roosters up into the Dragons' half to start this set. We're into the final minute. So this will be the last opportunity. They come now towards the middle. It's with Dimmick. Dimmick is picked up, driven backwards. Well down the tackler. Now with Dicker. Dicker goes across field, picks up the the fullback chiming in there. It's actually the 5'8" and Barrett. Barrett going across field. They get hold of her. They put her on the chair and they take her into touch. Georgie Barrett hasn't had the best of second half. Sweeping around there. Looked to use the speed to get to the outside of Bronte Morrison. Doesn't realise that Morrison's pretty quick herself. He got hold of her. Across comes Jessica Stevens as they held her up. They just chaired her off the ground and into touch as the full-time siren sounds. That'll be the last play of the game. A good defensive play from the Dragons to finish with, but it's the Roosters victorious here, 24 points to 8. The try scorers for the Chooks. Boland, Ekapati was brilliant. Seabeck got a try. Cashin and Durham. While for the Dragons, both their wingers getting tries in Alder and Armat. The scoreline here, the Indigenous Academy Roosters 24 to 8 on the Complete Warehouse Solutions scoreboard. We'll be back shortly with the Lisa Fiola Cup. See you then.
Coco is at Pell's heart, she wears it on her sleeve. As Mustard tells tales of dragons, wins and tuna victory. Tony and the NP crew will do their very best, getting off topic and I digress with a red V on our chest. The Mad Dragon podcast is a sheep of camaraderie, navigating rants down rabbit holes in the land of big wet feet. And so our peddlers weave the tales and our pursuit is our dream. The Mad Dragon podcast.